Morning. We're about to start our services. Welcome to you who are in the sanctuary and to those on Zoom. Please take this moment to silence your phones. Thank you.
No, it's okay.
With this basket of black oak acorns, we express our heartfelt desire that the Nisenan people may recover more and more of their rich cultural heritage. We commit to support them in these and other efforts in whatever ways we can, under their guidance and at their request.
In solidarity with the indigenous peoples across the United States, I acknowledge the land on which I make my home is the home of the Monacan Indian Nation, one of the few Native American groups still residing in their ancestral homeland of 10,000 years. They are recognized as one of the 7 indigenous tribes in the state of Virginia.
Okay, please rise. And the choir will sing this through once and then join in with them, please. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community of the Mountains in Grass Valley, California. Whether you're here in the room or out there on Zoom, whether this is your first time with us or your first time in a good long time, hi, Janet. Whether you, sorry, hang on, I lost my, whether you know this place and these people as your longtime community or you're brand new here, anything in between, I hope you feel welcome to return again and again. Whatever our heritages, our pronouns, our orientations, our ages, our sizes, who we love, how we love, what we worship, or whether we worship at all, here we are welcomed, cherished, loved. My name is Beth Caro, and Tracy Pepper and I are the worship associates for this Sunday morning, and indeed most of the Sunday mornings in this month of February, Black History Month, where we'll be exploring the theme of love through a variety of services. Throughout this month, we will be creating this community love altar, so all month long, and you are hereby invited to contribute to its formation. Today, we'll be hearing again from our choir with direction from Toby Thomas Rose. Tom Wernig is going to play for us, both. Reverend Janet Ani, Rev Jan, will be sharing a story and the chalice lighting over Zoom from her home in Virginia before the children leave for Kids Connection with Lindsay and Aiden McCarthy. Remember little Aiden McCarthy? He's not little anymore. He's our new teacher. So yeah. We are also, it's a busy day today. We're also formally welcoming the lay pastoral care team as they transition into a more participatory role in the Sunday services during Rev Kev's renewal leave time. So each week, one of their members will be holding space for us during the Joys and Sorrows portion of our services. And I'd like to welcome them up all now to read our opening words.
Know only that you are loved by Reverend Gretchen Haley. For this one moment, know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth.
In your body, however tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry, for this hour, know that you are not alone.
Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope.
Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy, and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. Already we are organizing.
Come, let us worship together.
As we gather in community, you are invited to light your home chalice as the chalice is lit in our embodied space. Hear the words of Reverend Scott Taylor. We light this chalice in the names of love of family that brings us into being, allows us to bloom, and then sends us on our way with courage, knowing we can return no matter what. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust and help us know that who we are does not end at the barrier of our own skin. The love of friends who help us feel seen and sing our song back to us when we cannot hear it with our ears alone. The love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And the greatest love, the love that will not let us go even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home. If we listen, it is doing so, even today. My grandfather was a small, wiry man with a thick head of hair, a slow smile, and an emotional reserve expressed mostly in silence, although he did become more animated when discussing the affairs of the church over a Sunday supper. He was a reader of books and collector of relics left over from the former inhabitants of the Ohio land where we had our small dairy farm. Some of those relics turned up by his plow, arrowheads, and empty Civil War era shell casings. Those relics found a home in his apron pocket. I vividly remember his work clothes, especially his old leather apron. It hung on a hook close to the milking stalls in the barn. It protected him from blows from the large animal's hoofs. It provided some warmth on the cold days and a bit of protection on the rainy days. The apron had several pockets where he carried tools and the stuff he used to fix things. Occasionally, I would find that one of those pockets yielded a piece of hard candy studded with pieces of hay or tractor oil, and God knows what else, including the aforementioned relics. More than once, I watched my grandfather absently use his leather apron to swat a horse or a cow into its stall. It was so pliant that he could form it into a pouch to carry eggs into the kitchen. It smelled like the barn, with undertones of horse manure, milk, and cats. It smelled like eternity. The apron itself was not a particular thing of beauty. It was made from one of his father's, my great-grandfather's deceased cows. But what made it beautiful to me was what it represented. It represented the things that embody love, security, discipline, caregiving, community, acceptance, and the sacredness of small things. So it is with anything. What makes an object beautiful is the way it makes you feel. What emotions does your object trigger? Do these feelings raise you up or tear you down? Does your object remind you of love? Does it connect you with the eternal? During this month, we will be considering love in all its expressions. The altar will be the vehicle for displaying tangible objects that remind you of when you felt love. You are invited to add your contributions each week as the altar fills with love objects and the stories of love permeate the air.
She tells me that this is nothing like her grandfather's apron, but we got a leather apron for our altar today. First time. And now let's sing our children to their classes. silence. Let's just do that like 4 more times and then go drink coffee together. Just kidding. Okay. Thank you, Toby.
We used to sing that to Amy.
Oh, yeah. We did. Used to sing that to Aiden, who is now teaching for us. And what a wonderful full circle. Okay, so before we begin our ritual of joys and sorrows, I'm going to speak about lay pastoral care. Lay pastoral care is designed to accompany people on journeys through personal transition through the ministry of listening. Some of the life transitions may include a death of a loved one, including death of a beloved animal companion, or a change in health status, a move to a new housing situation. Lay pastoral care is offered when any change where an extended adjustment period and a focused listening, non-judgmental presence might be helpful. The UUCM congregation is fortunate to have 2 formal avenues of care. I'd say we have a lot more than 2, but for the sake of this, so many of you are familiar with the care team headed by Gwen Iman. These are the people who provide short-term tangible assistance, such as coordinating transportation, running errands, providing meals, sending cards, touching base with phone calls. Just for fun, I'm going to go off script. Have you received care from this care team? Card, a call? Yeah, yes. They are, thank you. They are the doers. The lay pastoral care team, the LPCT at UUCM, they're the beers, okay? They're the trained listeners. Each one is committed to companioning, to be with an individual through a transition period. They are not therapists. They may recommend community resources, but they are not going to attempt to fix your issue. To assure confidentiality, they are led by the minister, who serves as a conduit to the care team and a resource to the LPCT. UUCM members and friends in a transition are welcome to directly contact any one of them, or you may contact the sabbatical minister, Rev. Jan, who has established programs for 5 congregations, including training and supervising lay pastoral care team. You're in good hands. The UUCM Pastoral Care Associates are George Dunstan, Carol Ritchie, Tom Warnig, and Corey Silva. And Carol Ritchie will join me today for Joys and Sorrows. So we come here today with our hearts and our minds full of cares and concerns for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the entire world. Sadness, struggles, worries, hopes, and also joys, celebrations, good news, triumphs, and tragedies, such as life, such as love. We have the opportunity to connect now with each other through this, our symbolic weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. When the music starts, if you feel so moved, I invite you to come forward and select one of these stones, tangible symbols of what we bring with us, what is weighing on us today, and release it into the bowl of water, symbolizing our caring community. In this way, perhaps what feels deeply personal may also feel communal. Our burdens perhaps made lighter, knowing that they and we are part of something shared. Those on Zoom may choose to write into the chat, and whether or not you come forward today, please hold this time in sacred silence as we connect with what is in our hearts. we place the last stones, as always, for that which remains in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be brought forth at this time. And our candles were lit this morning in recognition of African American History Month, Black History Month, for the struggles and accomplishments of the past and the history woven into the fabric of our country now, in the past, and in the future. Beautiful. Thank you so much, choir and Toby. Wow. Ugh. Whew. Okay. Love. What a huge topic. At first, I thought it seemed like there must be nothing new for me to say about it. I mean, after all, humans probably began singing and talking and writing about love shortly after they got past the level of communication that included things like, there's good water over there, and those mushrooms are not good to eat. Besides the vast amount of art and literature devoted to the broad subject of love, it's probably been the subject most scientifically studied as well. From Sigmund Freud and Masters and Johnson to Dr. Ruth, Brene Brown, and thousands of others, each in their own way attempting to untangle the mysteries of love. So what more could I possibly add to the subject, especially in the framing of UU? Well, one of my favorite ubiquitous UU quotes is, anyone? No, okay, I'm just gonna say it. We need not think alike to love alike, which is a super cool thing to say, especially very UU, even down to the fact that there's a lot of controversy around who said it and what it means and all that. So UU. But also, okay, we need not think alike, yes, but to love alike? Do we really all love alike here? Is that the goal? I mean, aren't there lots of ways to love? I remember at least 5 because there's that 5 love languages, right? In fact, 2 years ago this week, Reverend Kevin preached a marvelous service where he introduced us to the 5 love languages and how we can use them to form and strengthen our beloved community. It's on our YouTube channel. So I thought I'd make it easier on myself, and maybe we'll just play it for the service. Maybe, can we just all watch it now? Andy, Paul, can you want to just press play? No? Okay, I'm just kidding. But really, it is a great sermon, and if you have the time or, are noodling around YouTube, check out our channel. There's a lot of services on there, including that one, and it's a great one. So even if you did experience it 2 years ago, it's worth revisiting. So anyway, I thought I could at least start with those 5 love languages, maybe go a little bit deeper. But early in my research, I stumbled across a website called STIM Punks, S-T-I-M Punks. And there I learned about the 5 neurodivergent love languages, which I totally resonated with and geeked out on. And I got really excited to share those with you, which I will. Okay, but first I want to talk about emotional bids. An emotional bid is when we do something to signal that we're looking to make a connection, that we want attention. I'm going to say that again because it's important. Emotional bids are when we signal that we are looking to make a connection. We want attention. They are central to every kind of relationship, whether romantic, social, or professional, even across species. Think of your dog bringing you a tennis ball, for example. Emotional bids are like the glue that keep a relationship together. The world's most famous relationship research center, aside here, I love that there's so many relationship centers in the world that there's actually like the most famous relationship research center. But anyway, that's cool. And the Gottman Institute is what it's called. And they discovered that the way we react to emotional bids habitually can predict by 85% if we'll still be with a partner and friend in 6 years. That's how powerful and emotional bids and how we respond to them really are. So again, bids are requests to connect. They can be big or small, verbal or nonverbal. They're often purposely subtle because people are scared to be vulnerable and put themselves out there, especially when there's past trauma or, past negative experiences. It can be frightening, even nerve-wracking to say, hey, I want to connect. Pay attention to me, please. I need you. So instead, although that does happen, bids can be as innocuous as a question about, oh, where'd you get those cool shoes? Or, a smile from your barista as she's handing you your coffee. Or your partner who keeps on pointing out vintage cars to you. Or, right? You with me? Or, and this is important, they may come in the form of an invitation to join the worship committee at your church. Okay, they're often easy to miss, these subtle requests, especially in these times where it seems like everyone has more than one distraction going at once, sometimes several. But emotional bids can be really easy to spot, especially when we start paying attention to them. And how we respond to them is so crucial. We have a choice with each emotional bid we receive to respond in one of 3 ways. And it is a spectrum, so it's not just like, okay, 1 of 3. But you can go beneficially towards the bid, like, yes, dear, I do believe that is an old Ferrari. I wonder what year it is. Do you know? Or you can respond less beneficially, which is like away from the bid. Oh, yeah, cool, great, old car, yay. Whatever. Or you can respond non-beneficially against the bid. How many times do I have to tell you I do not care about stupid old cars? Why do you always do this? We always get it. Okay, so I've done that one. I think you probably all have done that one at your emotional bids. But anyway, responding beneficially, turning toward that emotional bid that comes your way from the people that you care about, it makes them feel understood, valued, and recognized for their achievements, even loved. I'm trying harder to recognize those bids and practice turning towards them more often than turning away. Even if I have to say, could we do this later? Or, I hear that you're wanting to talk to me and I want to talk to you, but maybe not about cars. So that's what an emotional bid is. It's a request. So, and how we respond to them is crucial for the successful relationships. We see them come into play now through the lenses of the 5 neurodivergent love languages. But before I do, I think I need to say a few words about the word neurodivergent. It's a good one, neurodivergent, 5 syllables. Awesome. So this might be helpful if you haven't heard that word very often. Neurodivergent basically means having a mind that functions in ways which diverge significantly from the dominant social standards of normal or neurotypical. Neurodivergent is a large umbrella term under which you'll find lots of other things. Autism, for example, which is itself a large umbrella. PTSD, anxiety, sensory processing, ADHD, dyslexia, and so on. It's estimated that at least 15% of the human population is considered neurodivergent, and many think that that number will soon be much higher as we deepen our understanding of and normalize neurodivergence. Also, this is important, many, if not most, neurodivergent people have no idea that they're neurodivergent. It looks different in everyone, and it's only recently becoming more and more mainstream. Like I said, it's a big umbrella, one under which many of you, and many of the people we love and care for fit under. We need not think alike to love alike. That's the thinking part. Let's get to the loving part. After all, it's a love month, right? With the understanding that these more recently named love languages, the 5 neurodivergent love languages, they apply to and are used widely throughout both the neurotypical and neurodiverse communities. And they're interwoven with the more commonly known 5 love languages as well. So first, a little something called info dumping. It's very characteristic for neurodivergent people to develop an obsession with something specific and often obscure. In our house, for instance, right now, Dungeons and Dragons is the dump of the day. Well, that and neurodivergent love languages. Dog breeds, architecture, vintage cars, Disney, baseball stats, Harry Potter, the Marvel universe. The lists are endless. You can really get down to anything. They are powerful fascinations. And sometimes these special interests, or they're known as spins, because special interest spins. Sometimes they are short-lived, sometimes they last lifetimes. But however long they last, They are intense and delightful and a vital part of that person's very being. Having a special interest is just as intoxicating as having a crush or being newly in love. The same chemical hormones are released in our bodies. It's science. You just want to breathe it in, bathe in the knowledge and absorb it all and talk about it. It's a beautiful sign of caring, of friendship, and of love to not only allow, but encourage someone to talk to you about their spin, whether or not you actually share their interest, because the joy that it brings to that person to discuss, to share what they know, to info dump, it's truly soul touching for both of you. You may have to steel yourself a bit, like I sometimes do when the emotional bid is made. But watching my daughter's eyes light up when I don't just let her info dump, but I actually ask a question about her obsession, that's big love. Another neurodivergent love language is parallel play. And anyone who has witnessed groups of toddlers knows exactly what this means. Some people call it being alone together. It's like when you're both scrolling on your phones or reading your books, or maybe one person is doing a puzzle, the other person's writing an email. Separate activities, not trying to influence each other's behavior, just existing in the same place with someone without any expectations. Parallel play is an easier way to socialize for people who have a hard time with small talk or big talk or group activities and the like, who might be lonely and easily overwhelmed at the same time. Parallel play. So next is support swapping. Support swapping is another love language that is so basic but absolutely wonderful, especially when the emotional bid for support swapping is met with compassion and non-judgment. So simply put, support swapping is when we accommodate and support each other, especially in areas that are hard or unpleasant for one person, but maybe easy or enjoyable for another. It actually touches on the 7th UU principle, the interdependence of all existence. Okay, so it's super hard for me to wrap my head around such concepts as filing taxes. My husband would burn water if I let him in the kitchen, that is. But he's great with numbers, and I'm a whiz with a whisk. Okay, so I realize that this is a very tired gender role specific stereotype, but it's true for us. And support swapping works for us. So think of something that comes really easy to you that might be really hard for someone you are in relationship with. And chances are they can do the same for you. So that emotional bid, then leaning towards, I'll tell you what, leaning against it. Why can't you freaking do your taxes? It's not that hard. You're a grown up, grow up. Okay, that's really leaning against that emotional bid. But I got this. Why don't you make dinner? That's awesome. So it doesn't have to be something you're bad or good at. It can be seen as more or less enjoyable. So some of us actually really love folding laundry. Some love washing windows. So imagine now using support swapping to get those things done together. It sounds good, right? Our worship team really leans into this love language when we craft services together. Kevin really asked us to, think about what part of the service that we like and what we'd be really happy to not do, and, see how we can do that for each other. Okay, so the next love language has the odd but very self-explanatory title, Please Crush My Soul Back into My Body. Okay, so, right, this needs to be emphasized, especially for this love language, that consent is crucial. Okay, this is this love language that needs to be asked for. Do not attempt to crush somebody's soul back in their body unless they ask you for it. You need clear consent before you perform it. But it works along the same lines as a hug does in a neurotypical situation, but it goes much further and it's much more intense. But it really addresses the need for deep pressure to help regulate our oversensitive nervous systems. This is where things like weighted blankets or swaddling can help. And there is a movement that says swaddling is not just for babies. So, but crying babies, it really, really helps to swaddle. And there are actually products that you can get that kind of mimic that for adults. There's a groundbreaking autism advocate, Temple Grandin, herself autistic. She created a squeeze machine. And it's a famous example of this soothing approach to the body's stress response. Okay, lastly, and it's probably my favorite, penguin pebbling. Some species of penguins have been observed to give pebbles to other penguins to show they care. Kids are great at this love language. Here's a leaf I found for you, or a feather, or a rock, or a shell. I sometimes wander around thrift stores when I find myself with some extra time to spend in town. And more often than not, any purchases that I make there are for someone other than me. I found this, and I thought of you. Non-tangible sharing falls under this category as well. So online, memes, gifts, cute kitten and puppy pictures sent by text or email or social media, posted on each other's Facebook page. They're a way to connect, to share things that are interesting to you or to the person that you're sharing with. So penguin pebbles, they're a way to connect or reconnect after a time apart. When words, when conversations are just too hard, or too awkward, or even when they aren't. Because really, I mean, who doesn't love a good pebble? Or a video of a cat wearing a cape riding a Roomba? Okay, so that is a lot of info dumping I just did. I realized that. And maybe it was hard for some of you to find relevance. Or maybe, this is what I'm hoping, some of you feel seen and understood in ways that you don't feel often enough. Perhaps there's someone in your life, maybe in this building right now, whom you might understand a little bit better now that you know about neurodivergent love languages. How the love languages of info dumping, parallel play, support swapping, deep pressure, and penguin pebbling blend and mesh with, augment, and complement the other love languages that we might be more familiar with. Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch. My hope is that your curiosity is sparked, like mine has obviously been, to recognize and discover new ways to love each other comfortably, whether we are neurotypical or neurodivergent, that we continue to normalize asking for and answering the emotional bids with each other in ways that strengthen and deepen our knowledge and understanding of each other. that remind us and reinforce our belief in the first principle of Unitarian Universalism, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Knowing that perhaps we do not need to think alike or love alike to answer the call of love, whenever and however it comes. May it be so, and blessed be. So the offering is a sacred ritual in the Free Church tradition. It's evidence that our church is neither supported by nor beholden to the political state. It's here. It is a voluntary effort in its membership. It is a gift freely given that we in turn share with a community partner whose values align with our mission. 25% of our collection baskets and 100% of what is placed into the white envelopes will be shared this month with Community Beyond Violence. Their executive director, Stephanie Fisher, is here to tell us more about their important work in our community. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me here this morning. Beth said that I get to spend the next hour talking to you about my programs and services. So I work at Community Beyond Violence, what used to be called the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Coalition. So we serve Western Nevada County victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And this year we are celebrating 45 years of service to Western Nevada County. We exist because we believe that everyone deserves to be respected and live a life that's violence-free. It's not a privilege, it's a basic human right. Our staff, right down to our accounting department, often refer to ourselves as human rights activists. We believe one of our roles in the community is not only providing a physically safe space, but an emotionally safe space as well. Our philosophies include approaches that are trauma-informed, client-led, and voluntary participation in services. But we also strive to be a caring, culturally responsive, and inclusive agency. All of our services are free and confidential, and that includes being able to provide emergency food, transportation, clothing, shelter, a 24-hour crisis line, advocacy and accompaniment with law enforcement and the courthouse and medical facilities. It's really whatever needs are dictated by our clients. The funding that's being given to us today by your group and your community is actually helping us. We're in the process this month and next month moving our emergency shelter. We have a 18-bed emergency shelter, 5-bedroom house that we lease. We do not own a building, and every couple of years we find ourselves in the position of having to move because the owner is selling their house, or for whatever reason. For this particular reason, our owner has decided to sell the house. And so this month we are raising money to be able to pay for the unbudgeted, unexpected expenses that include developing a new security system and playground, children's playground, and all of the costs associated with moving. So thank you again for allowing us to be here, allowing me to be here and be able to speak with you. And I will be here afterwards if there are any questions. I also brought brochures for you guys to take one as you leave as well. Thanks again.
Okay, will the ushers please come forward to receive this week's offering?
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579-0483, give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me/UUCM or mail to UUCM 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California 95945. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate these gifts to the vision of building a world beyond violence, a world where every call of love in every language is answered. Oh, so many people to thank today. Tracy, thank you so much for your worship associate duties, and Gail, so much for heavy lifting behind the scenes. Tom, Corey, George, and Carol, the lay pastoral care team, for stepping up, for reading, for being a part of our service. Oh, choir, thank you so much. What a beautiful blessing you gave us this morning. Andy and Paul and Cypress and Siobhan out for the AV team. Thank you so much. Let's see what else. George Johnston, Gail Johnson Vaughn. There you are again, Gail. She deserves two, 3, 4, many. Linda and I did the setting. Lindsay and Sam in the back. No, not Sam. I'm doing it even now. Aiden. Sam is Aiden's brother. Aiden and Lindsay. I don't think we got them. Oh, and Corey didn't greet, although she probably greeted some of you. Officially, it was, who was it? It was Gwen. Gwen and Jean. Yeah. And Shannon and Connie, and I see Beth here too, so she probably had something to do with the refreshments. What? Oh gosh darn, Eileen on Zoom. Oh, and hello, Rev Ani. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, we have a second one. Rev Ani, this was her first, I think, official service, and she'll be the service leader next week, so it won't be as chaotic, hopefully. Eileen on Zoom, thank you so much for doing so much. We've got Toby, Mary, and Carol. Oh my gosh, the slides. So many moving parts, and Siobhan, the tech support, lots and lots. Stop the Mind meeting tomorrow, the county government. It's important, be there. There's a website to contact. An Imbolc ritual. Joe and I are reigniting for Imbolc, see what I did there? And would love to have you join us talk about the future of pagan services. We've got the book group next Sunday, and of course the website. It's really good. There's been a lot of work done on it, and it's got so much. So go there, check it out. Let's see. Okay, we're ready to sing. Yes. Let's stand up if you're willing and able and sing along to Answering the Call of Love. Okay, you can be seated for these closing words. Wait, okay. So, sorry. For our closing words, no, go ahead and sit down. For our closing, I want you to be able to see this. You guys come up though. Yeah. Okay. So for our closing words this morning, I'm taking inspiration from a meme that I've been seeing on Facebook lately that says something like this: normalize telling people that you love them. Say, I love you. Say it a lot. Make it weird. Make it awkward. So we're going to lean into that. So as we say in our different languages, repeat after us. And I'll start in English. I love you.
I love you. In Swahili, nakupenda.
Nakupenda.
In sign language.
In Hebrew, ani ohavit kolchem.
Ani ohavit kolchem.
In German, ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
In Hungarian, Szeret lek.
Szeret lek. And Eileen? Wait for it. We might have to spot her. Hang on, it's worth it. There she is. Oh.
In Mountain Maidu, Nikyahanti Ankano.
Nikyahanti Ankano. One more time in English. I love you. And though we extinguish our chalice now, we know that we will carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. See you next week. Come join us in the back, and you can drop in and say hi to Rev Jan and the rest of the folks on Zoom. Bob's going to set up the monitor behind this curtain in just a few minutes. So we'll see you next Sunday.